Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad you decided to tune in. Fans, we have a great show for you today. Another glorious show, another organizational sweep. The second one in consecutive days, the fifth one in the last couple of weeks. So this organization, the Dodgers organization, continues to roll, which, you know, when I hear criticism of the front office and, hey, they don't know what they're doing, I kind of hear chat from there, social media or what may it be. Okay, well, actually, if you look at how this organization does, the stockpile of talent, and just how many games, you know, just from top to bottom they win, you realize that this organization, they know how to chew on data, they know how to break, you know, player prospects down, they know how to develop talent, and they know how to win games. So congratulations to the organization again on another organizational sweep, the second on consecutive days, the fifth in the last couple of weeks. How fantastic is that? So a glorious show, a lot to get to, especially when you consider the Dodgers won a big divisional game against are the San Diego Padres still a rival? I mean, this has been pretty much domination by the Los Angeles Dodgers, at least in the regular season. You know, the Padres did beat the Dodgers last year in the playoffs in that divisional series. But as far as the regular season goes, and overall the last 5 years, the Dodgers have completely dominated the Padres. So just chew on that a minute. We'll circle back to it. But, hey, start thinking, is this actually a rivalry between the Dodgers and the Padres when there is so much domination on one side? So a lot to get to, but before we do, hey, just a reminder, we do now have the ability to donate to Dodgers Daily. We have a GoFundMe account, and the link to that GoFundMe account is in the description. Just scroll down to the description. It is right there. Click on the link, and it'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe account. Also, if you like this video, and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, become a subscriber. After you subscribe, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified and you won't miss a thing. Dodgers Daily can keep doing what we do, and we love to do, which is providing videos and content like this in the future. And you know, we can just keep going and keep doing this like we love to do. Okay, we have a huge show to get to today. Again, another organizational sweep. You have the cherry on top with the Dodgers defeating the Padres. Again, the Padres came out and they hit the home run early with Juan Soto, and the Dodgers answered back in the bottom of the first. So a big show, a lot to get to. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers are 49-23 in the last 5 years against the Padres. They have won 11 consecutive regular season series, and Julio Urias, the Dodgers have won the last 9 starts that he has started against the Padres. So I ask again, when you're 49-23, you've won more than double the amount of games that your opponent has in this series in the last 5 years. When you've won 11 consecutive regular season series, I know the Padres beat the Dodgers in the playoffs last year, but when your ace has total domination over your opponent in this series, is that a rivalry when there is such domination on one side like the Dodgers have had over the Padres over the years? So there's your question. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Is this actually a rivalry with the Dodgers dominating the Padres the way they have certainly over the last 5 years, again, with the 49-23 record and the 11 consecutive regular season series wins over the Padres, and the way that Julio Urias has dominated them with 9 consecutive wins in his starts? Okay, so the Dodgers now are 25-15. They are 3 games in front of the Arizona Diamondbacks in the NL West, and they are 6 games in front of the Padres, which, you know, the Padres, to me, they're a conglomeration of the best players that were on a free agency market. They were put together with no, you know, kind of plan as far as how you're going to incorporate everybody together and put together an identity as far as what type of team you want to have. You're just putting together good players, like almost like putting an all-star cast together and just hoping that talent overcomes. You know, there's more than just putting talent on a field. There has to be, you know, chemistry, and there has to be kind of a flow between all the teammates as far as everybody knows what everybody else is going to do. And then you kind of put, an identity together based off of, everybody's strengths and weaknesses. And then once you know everybody's strengths and weaknesses, you make that identity, then your manager can manage towards it, and everybody can buy into it. And then you kind of know how you're going to win games and what a team is going to do each and every night to uphold that identity. The Padres, in my opinion, they don't have an identity other than they're just a conglomeration of free agents that their front office put together to try to put together the most amount of talent they could. Hey, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad strategy, but I do think that, thinking of the team aspect of it and the identity aspect of it, hey, we have a formula of the type of offense we like to play. We have a formula of the type of pitching we like to do. We like the four-seam up. We like the cutter and the slider that turns left, and then we like the change-ups, like pitching for the Dodgers. Hey, we like hitters that hit home runs. We like hitters that grind pitch counts. If their batting average isn't all that high, that's fine. We've seen that with Max Muncy, Chris Taylor over the years. As long as their slug numbers are good and they draw a lot of walks, hey, so we don't necessarily have to get the best player on the market, but we do have to get the player that fits our formula the best. I don't think the Padres have a formula. I think they just go get the best players. They put them together in a lineup. They don't mesh together. They don't make, at least they haven't made a quote-unquote team yet. They don't have an identity because of that, and I think because of that they're underperforming. That's just my opinion, and I don't mean that as a rivalry type talk towards the Padres. I mean that just from a baseball perspective. I think that's why the Dodgers, obviously you go out and get a Mookie Betts, you get a Freddie Freeman, you have Urias, you have the ability to keep signing your own talent for the most part. The Dodgers did lose Corey Seager and, Cody Bellinger, and they didn't re-sign Trey Turner and Max Scherzer and all those guys. But you do have the ability to keep the guys that, typically speaking, unless the years are like 10 or 11 years, that you want to keep. I get all that. But the Dodgers, for the most part, in my opinion, the reason why they are so successful every year, and it just seems plug and play, no matter who they put in, is because they have a specific formula. They have an identity on offense. They have an identity as far as pitching goes. And then they certainly have an identity from a culture perspective. If you are not a great person first, and that outweighing all of anything you can do on a field, you will not be a Dodger. They totally believe in culture. So the three things that the Dodgers look for offensively, they look for offensive players that can grind pitch counts, that can hit home runs and slug, and pitching wise, they look for guys with high spin rate that can attack the top of the zone with their four seam, and good sliders that can turn left, and good changeups and or a two seam that can turn right. That's your formula offensively and pitching wise. And then your formula as far as culture goes off the field, you have to be an absolutely elite human being. If you are not an elite human being, somebody that everybody wants to be around, and somebody that can give off positive vibes at all times, you will not be in a Dodgers dugout. You will not be in their organization. So they have that specific formula. They go out and they find guys that match that formula. Even guys in the minor leagues, they go out and find guys that have been in other organizations. They plug them into the formula, and they see who comes out at the top. And it's just plug and play every year at the LA level. So I know the Dodgers, like I said, they have unlimited funds, and a lot of people will point to that, and they're not wrong. But the reason why the Dodgers, in my opinion, the biggest reason why they have such domination over teams like the Padres is because they have that specific identity. They know the formula that they want to win by, and they stick to it, and it works. And if it works, then why change it? So, again, the Dodgers 49-23 over the Padres in the last 5 years, 11 consecutive regular season series wins. Julio Urias has won 9 consecutive starts. The Dodgers have won games in those 9 starts in a row from Julio Urias over the Padres. So, hey, it's fantastic. And I'll ask you again before I move on to our next part of this Dodgers talk. Hey, is that a rivalry when you have that kind of domination? Okay, scoring. Big, because the Padres came out, Juan Soto hit the solo home run, and when the Padres scored first, that was a huge deal for the Padres to score that one run in the first, because when they score first, they are 15-6 on the season. When the other team scores first, they are sub 500 and by quite a bit. So scoring first, I always talk about that, getting that lid off, getting the positive momentum for your team. Hey, yes, they are professionals. Should they have to have confidence every night? When you say that, that's relative. They always have confidence because they wouldn't be where they're at if they didn't. What I mean is, for that in particular given night in all of the matchups, are they confident that their matchups are better than the other team's matchup and get the positive vibes going there? So when the Padres score first, that gets their positive vibes going, and they are 15-6. Not nearly as good, obviously, when the opponent does. Sub 500 for them. So when Juan Soto hit that home run, that got them going, and it was huge. I talked about this in yesterday's show. When you have a team like that that's good when they score first, they're good. They're what I call front runners. They like to ride that momentum, that they get the lead, and then they like to front run and ride momentum when they have the lead. Not quite as good when you challenge them, and then you take the lead. That's the Padres to me right there. So answering back when the Padres grab momentum and take a lead like that is absolutely huge with any team, but especially a team like the Padres with a team full of Fernando Tatis Jr.'s, Manny Machado's, and guys like that love to front run, and they love to show off when things are going great. Not quite as good whenever they get punched back. So it's huge that the Dodgers punch back on consecutive days. If you remember, the Padres hit the 2-run home run in the 7th on Friday night. The Dodgers came right back and matched that with the 2 runs at the bottom of the 7th. Well, how about last night when Juan Soto hits the solo home run? JD Martinez hits the 3-run home run. Okay, so not only did the Dodgers match, they actually one-upped or 2-upped the Padres. And really, if you haven't had a chance to hit yet, and the other team's already scored 1 run, does that really count as the other team scoring first? I know, obviously, they did score first, but it's only because you haven't hit yet. But by the time both teams had hit, the Dodgers had outscored the Padres 3-1. That was just kind of a slap in the face, like, hey, we have owned you over the last 5 years. We're going to own you tonight. No matter what you do, we're either going to equal or we're going to, 2-up that like the Dodgers did. So to me, that just kind of made the statement that, hey, we're going to beat you again tonight. We're going to beat you for the 4th time in a row, and we're going to continue to claim dominance in this series. So that 3-run home run, not just the 3 runs, obviously, that's huge too, but just from the perspective of answering back and just making that statement, I thought that was huge. Okay, the Dodgers, their offense, hey, like we said, when you slug, it makes things a lot easier. They did have 8 hits, 7 different guys had hits last night, but they only scored in 2 innings. But hey, when you win, it doesn't matter. I will always take, only scoring in 2 innings, that's not, unless you score, like 8 runs and score 8, that doesn't always lead to wins, and the Dodgers, again, only scored 4 runs last night. 4 runs won't win, probably more than 500 or 50% of your games, but it did win last night. That's all that matters, because I talk about how the Dodgers have figured out how to win different games. Last night, you only score in 2 innings. There's been games where the Dodgers have scored in like 4, 5, 6 innings, and they've spread the wealth out and played great team offense. Well, last night, the Dodgers slugged in the 1st inning, and they only scored 1 more run the rest of the whole night, and then had to make the pitching hold up for that. So, hey, get on base and, get a couple of bloop singles. The old saying in baseball, we need a couple bloops and a blast. Well, that was the Dodgers' 1st inning yesterday. They got that. They got the 3 runs and literally just rode that all the way home with great pitching from Julio Urias, Brusdar Graterol, Evan Phillips, and then Caleb Ferguson. I love that last out. That was so much fun to watch, and that last inning was super hyped, and I'm still pretty pumped about it. And boy, the Dodgers have a chance to sweep the Padres today. Wouldn't that be awesome? And I'll tell you what, I went over it, but the Dodgers have a chance to really make some hay here. I said 2 out of 3 against the Padres. So, hey, let's get greedy. Let's win 3 out of 3. Let's sweep this series. And then, you have Minnesota, where you could easily win 2 out of 3 out of that. Then you could sweep the Cardinals after that. And, boy, you could really, really, really be on a good run and open up maybe a 5-6 game lead, maybe even a 7-game lead in the NL West, and be, 8, 9, 10 games up on the Padres, because the Padres are going to get hot and start. They have too much talent, even if they don't have kind of an identity, even if they don't have kind of a formula, a winning formula. They have too much talent. They are going to get hot, so you'd like to have that buffer against the Padres. Okay, Dodgers with runners in scoring position are 9 for their last 56. Okay, everything's good. The Dodgers have won a bunch of games in a row, but hey, you do need to address the runners with scoring and with runners in scoring position, the offense. The Dodgers are 9 for their last 56, which is ranked 10th in the Major League Baseball as far as hitting with runners in scoring position. That's a 248 average. Okay, so there you have it. The Dodgers, I think, one thing, like I said, that's a double-edged sword, and that means you're getting a lot of guys in scoring position, but then you're not always knocking them home. So the Dodgers, again, are 9 for the last 56, 248 average. That is 10th in Major League Baseball as far as hitting with runners in scoring position. Okay, let's move now to the pitching. Julio Urias, we've talked about the Dodgers have won the last 9 games against the Padres that Julio Urias has started. That's what you need your ace to do when you're in a big divisional series and a big divisional game. You need your ace to go out and have dominance over the other team, because then, that just pushes the ball down the line and it makes everything else easier for the other matchups in terms of, taking a little bit of stress off of having to do this and having to do that. When you're ace, you're going to go out and he's going to win every time. Let me ask you this question, though. Is Evan Phillips the best relief pitcher in the game? Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about that. Again, Evan Phillips, we talked about how dominant he was last year. He was absolutely ridiculous. The Dodgers got him, I believe, from Tampa Bay. I always remember him as a Baltimore Oriole, but I believe the Dodgers actually got him from Tampa Bay. I would have to look that up. I think that's right, though. Okay, and once they did, boy, they, again, another formula guy. I talk about the formula the Dodgers like to plug in from a pitching perspective. The high spin rate, four-seam up in the zone, and then the slider that turns left. Evan Phillips has that plus some. His slider is just absolutely insane. I believe he's throwing what they call a sweeper nowadays, which the sweeper gets a little bit more horizontal movement, kind of like that Frisbee action that you can see a lot of times side armors can throw and get on the side of the ball, get that ball to move a lot sideways horizontally. I believe he's throwing that sweeper this year, kind of a new term that Major League Baseball put out there for a new type of horizontal type pitch. So Evan Phillips, is he the best reliever in the game? He's given up runs in just one outing this year. He gave up 3 runs in that outing, and that's why his ERA is not sub-1 as we speak right now. But Evan Phillips, like I said, he has just been ridiculously good for the Dodgers. Is he the best relief pitcher in the game of baseball? If there is a better one, okay, leave in your comments. Tell me who you think it might be. But Evan Phillips, I think he's the best relief pitcher in the game. If you ask me if I needed to go get 3 outs, not necessarily the last 3 outs, just the 3 outs, the biggest 3 outs of any one game, and I could have any relief pitcher in the game of baseball, would I choose anybody else over Evan Phillips to go get those 3 outs? I would not. Evan Phillips has been that good, and so that's where I'm at on that. But where are you at on that? Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about Evan Phillips. Is he the best reliever in the game of baseball? Okay, so Brusdar Graterol came in. He threw 2/3 of an inning. Doc played the matchup, the left-on-left matchup game. He brought in Caleb Ferguson, and I'll tell you what, how much confidence and faith did he show in Ferguson? I know, that's the left-on-left deal like I talked about, but still, to bring him in that situation, that was big time. Fergie got it done with a lot of emotions and shut it down. So, hey, that was not an indictment on Brusdar Graterol. That was simply, we are not playing around here. We are going to do everything that we're supposed to do to put our team in the best situation at all times to beat the Padres. And if that means taking out, a guy after he's only gotten 2 outs and Brusdar Graterol and playing the left-on-left matchup, then go do it. That's what Dave Roberts did last night. Give him credit for that move. You got to give Dave, he takes on a lot of fire for, I know that some Dodgers fans don't think he has necessarily enough fire in his belly. They don't think that, maybe he's too much of a player's coach. Maybe he's too nice to guys. which he does create a very warm environment, a very warm culture in the dugout, which is great over 162 because it makes guys comfortable, it makes them want to be there, and it makes them want to perform. But, the criticism that I've heard the most of Dave Roberts is, hey, there are times where you need to get out of your box, you need to get up into somebody, you need to motivate them, you need to not be quite as positive, and you need to just kind of be, just kind of light a fire in your players. That's the criticism I hear of Dave Roberts, and the most. And so, hey, for all the criticism he takes, a lot of fans will say, hey, he wins in spite. We win in spite of Dave Roberts, which is, in my opinion, just absolutely ridiculous. There's no way you can win in spite of your manager. These players love Dave Roberts. They love playing for him. They wouldn't want to have any other manager. And because of that, the Dodgers get the best out of each and every player. And they also have a team culture behind it. And that absolutely helps a lot as far as all of the winning that the Dodgers do. So Dave Roberts, I will not back off the fact that he is the perfect manager for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, I don't necessarily disagree that there are times where he needs to go outside of his box to light fires with guys. I think he is slow to do that because he is such a warm culture type person. Okay, I don't disagree with that at all, and I've even stated that on a couple of podcasts in a couple different scenarios when I felt like he needed to do that to get the fire lit back in both individuals and teams. So, hey, I think that criticism a lot of times is warranted, but everybody has their flaws. I mean, what you're saying is unless the guy is absolutely perfect all the time, then he's not a good manager. He's won way too many games. The playoffs are a crapshoot. It's all about who gets hot in baseball. It's not necessarily who the best team is. So, hey, when Dave Roberts goes out and he takes out a Brusdar Graterol who has all this explosive stuff and he puts in a left-on-left matchup, give him credit for it. I think Dave Roberts does, sometimes it comes out wonky and sometimes it looks weird, and we tend to focus on the times whenever they kind of do things analytically and it doesn't work. It's kind of like the shift. Whenever it didn't work, all the old school guys, they would just hammer it down. But what they wouldn't mention is all the times that it actually did work, because that didn't necessarily fit, a narrative of not liking the shift. So that's kind of the analytical part of it. We like to notice when the analytics part of it doesn't work, and we tend to focus on that, but then we just kind of blow over whenever it actually does. And I can't tell you how many different times I've just scratched my head and gone, what the hell is he doing right here? Which great baseball people do, even your bench coaches, even, I'm sure there's sometimes players are thinking the same thing. So I don't mean that necessarily negatively, whereas a criticism, and then you look up and you go, oh, okay, well, I see now, this guy, here's the analytical data behind this, here's the analytical data behind that, and then the next thing it works. There's been, so many times to where as I was getting used to the analytics and the data, I had those moments, and so I've just come to trust the process and realize that, hey, all this data coming in, what it does is over 162, it gives yourself the best chance to win over a long period of time. So, hey, give Dave Roberts credit. That's kind of a long rant, a long spiel, just to say, hey, that was a great move bringing in Caleb Ferguson last night. Okay, base running, there wasn't really a whole lot to talk about. The Dodgers' last 3 games of starting pitchers. Okay, how about this? We talk about all the analytics and all the data and how the Dodgers follow it, and the data would tell you, hey, throw different guys so the other team's getting a different look every time they're up. Don't let your starter ever face the other team their third time through the lineup. Well, how about this? In the last 3 games, the Dodgers have had pitchers that have gone 7 innings, 6 2/3 innings, and then 7 innings. I've said it a million different times. I love analytics. I love data. But when your starter goes 7 innings and all you have to do is cover 2, it makes it so much easier, especially when one of those guys you're bringing in is automatic, like Evan Phillips. In essence, really, as a manager, all you're having to do is cover 1 inning, of which Dave Roberts, really all he had to manage last night was 1 inning, honestly. You hit the 3-run home run, you only score 1 more run after that. So other than the decision to bring in Caleb Ferguson, what did Dave Roberts have to manage? Julio Urias, although he did give up the 2 runs, he put Dave Roberts, his manager, in that situation because Dave Roberts didn't even have to manage until the 9th inning. because, hey, bring in Evan Phillips. I mean, my grandma can make that decision, correct? Evan Phillips, we just had the conversation. Is he the best relief pitcher in the game? I think he is. That's automatic. You bring him in. Maybe the managing part of it is, do I bring him in the 8th or the 9th? Maybe that's, you chew on that with your bench coaches and you make that decision. So there's some managing to go there. But, hey, Evan Phillips is going to cover one of those 2 innings. So really the only managing part of that is, how do we cover the 3rd inning? And Dave Roberts was absolutely spot on. Brusdar Graterol came in through 2 outs, and then Caleb Ferguson got the last out, and the Dodgers win. And they beat the Padres for the 49th time in the last 5 years, and they secured their 11th regular season series win over the Padres, and the end consecutive, 11th consecutive, I should say. So that is absolutely fantastic. Okay, how about Will Smith? I talked about him yesterday. He has been absolutely fantastic. Will Smith had struck out coming into tonight. Will Smith had struck out just 6 times. Okay, of course, he struck out on his first at bat, and so it was kind of like right on cue. I actually got this stat from Charlie Steiner on the radio broadcast. If you ever have a chance, listen to the radio broadcast and Steiner and Monday. They are just absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. I love listening to those 2 guys. So as Charlie Steiner was giving this stat, Will Smith actually struck out, and Charlie Steiner was like, well, wouldn't you know it? As soon as I give this stat about him never striking out, he strikes out in his first at bat. But coming into last night, Will Smith had only struck out 6 times, which was the fewest of any player in the major leagues with at least 100 at bats. So Will Smith, not only has he been just ridiculous as far as the batting average, he got the base hit to right field, to score the 2nd run. Freddie Freeman hit that ringing double off the wall, and Will Smith went oppo to drive him in, for the 4th run. So, not only has Will Smith has been a fantastic offensive player, as far as batting average goes, driving in runs, slugging, he doesn't strike out either. I mean, what is it that there isn't to like about Will Smith? He's, I asked the question yesterday. You can leave a comment again. Is he the best offensive catcher in the game of baseball? Well, he's only struck out, 7 times? And that's the least amount of any hitter with at least 100 at bats in the major leagues. He has a batting average over 300. He's driving in runs. What's not to like about Will Smith? So, again, another fantastic night last night, another organizational sweep starting at the top with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the Dodgers today at home, they have a chance to bring out the brooms and sweep the NL West rivals. Are they rivals? We talked about that. I asked that question. Leave a comment. The NL West rivals. I'll leave it at that right now. The San Diego Padres, a chance to sweep them this afternoon, Sunday afternoon. It's the Dodgers and the Padres. So that concludes our talk about the Dodgers for today. Time now to transition to the very successful minor league action from yesterday. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's take a trip down on the farm. Kind of like the LA Dodgers, the Oklahoma City Dodgers scored early last night and then didn't score a whole lot after that. As a matter of fact, Oklahoma City, they put up a 2-spot in the 2nd inning last night. Didn't score again, but that was enough as they defeated the Round Rock Express, and they are going for the sweep against the Express this afternoon, Sunday. They have won 5 in a row against them. That would be the first 6-game sweep in the history of the Round Rock organization. Now, keep in mind that the 6-game series haven't been around a whole long time, just a couple of years, but it would be the first 6-game sweep in the history of Round Rock. So that would be a big deal today if Oklahoma City could go ahead and finish that thing off down there in the Austin area against the Round Rock Express, the AAA affiliates of the Texas Rangers. Last night pitching was very good. We're going to get into it. Robbie Erlin, he went 5 innings, gave up just 1 run, 4 hits. He had 5 strikeouts and just 1 walk. Tyler Sear, he was absolutely nasty last night. The sink on his ball, the tumble, and the fade, on that changeup was just absolutely awesome last night. So Tyler Sear, he was very good. Hey, Andrejackson, I told you, man, he's going to get his head above water. He threw 2 innings last night. He did have a couple of walks, so the command is not exactly where he would like it to be right now. Only 1 strikeout, but bottom line is he threw 2 innings of scoreless baseball. And then Nick Robertson, he threw an inning last night, and He had 2 strikeouts, and he was very, very, very impressive. So, hey, last night was a good win for AAA Oklahoma City. On the year now, they are 27-11. They're in first place of the PCL West. They're having just a fantastic year. Offensively, Drew Avens had a hit, and he also had a walk, so he is on base twice, and anytime he does that, that's always a big deal because he scores a lot of runs. Michael Bush, back with Oklahoma City, he had a hit as well. Hunter-Feduccia, he had 2 hits last night, and he threw a runner out. We're going to check that out here in a minute. Ryan Ward, he had 2 hits last night, and Steven Duggar had a hit as well. 7 hits total, just 2 runs, and they both came in the second inning. But that was all the Oklahoma City Dodgers needed, and they took down the Round Rock Express, again 2-1 to move to 27-11 on the season. Hunter-Feduccia had 2 hits last night for AAA Oklahoma City, and he absolutely, we're going to get to see it here in a minute if I can talk long enough, absolutely hosed a runner trying to steal second base. There's a second hit, so the next play should be his hose down to second base. Hunter-Feduccia is hitting .295 on the year. His OPS is .972. Here we go. Strike him out, throw him out. He actually got interfered with, still threw out the runner by quite a bit. That was a great throw by Hunter-Feduccia. Again, had 2 hits last night. So again, .295 on the year, OPS .972. And like I said, he has a good arm. He has a big target behind the plate. He receives the ball very, very well. He throws down real well. So, hey, nothing not to like about this young man. Tall and lengthy. He's absolutely tough. Hunter-Feduccia. My man Ryan Ward was 2 for 3 last night for AAA Oklahoma City. He was on base 3 times and scored a run. Wardo has hits in back-to-back games and in 4 out of 5 and 6 out of his last 8 games. So Ryan Ward is heating up for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. This young man can absolutely hit. I love how his barrel comes through the zone. He has that swing that's going to allow him to hit both for average and for power. This young man, left-handed hitter out of Massachusetts, went to Bryant and was a very good offensive player there. So Ryan Ward, better known as Wardo, boy, he's starting to heat up for AAA Oklahoma City. Andrejackson had another good outing last night for AAA Oklahoma City. He went 2 innings scoreless. Jackson, I talked about quite a bit. He was, he had the Tommy John after he, went to Utah. Of course, he didn't pitch a whole lot in Utah. He was mainly an outfielder there. Then he had the Tommy John. So really, he's just kind of getting started as a pitcher as far as stringing years together. So still a lot of a learning curve for him. One thing about him I talk about all the time, he is, he's a fighter. He's going to keep fighting. And like I said, he's still somewhat on a learning curve because he's not the guy that was always the pitcher in college and came to the Dodgers refined. He came to the Dodgers as an outfielder and a guy who had Tommy John surgery. They have made him what he is. He has that elite changeup, working on that slider and working on his command. Again, he did have 2 walks last night, so I'm sure he would tell you that the command wasn't exactly the way that he wanted, but still, it's a situation to where anytime you can go 2 innings and you do not give up a run and your team wins a close game like the Oklahoma City Dodgers did last night, that is absolutely total success. Like I said, Andrejackson, as he continues that learning curve, as he continues to get better, and as he continues to learn exactly what type of pitcher he is and what makes him great, what makes him that major league caliber pitcher that can get consistent major league outs, every time he goes out. As he continues to learn all of that, he will get his head above water once again. When I say that, I don't mean that he's below water in the sense that he's not doing good. I just mean above water, meaning back in the major leagues. Nick Robertson is kind of the Michael Bush of pitching in the sense that he's done just about everything he can do at the AAA level to impress and show that he is ready for a major league debut. Of course, he is not on the 40-man roster, so you would have to DFA somebody to get him put on that roster, which is a messy situation. So hasn't happened yet, but he normally sits 94 to 96. Robertson does. Last night he was at 98, and that was per the Round Rock play-by-play guy. So that's the gun in the stands. A lot of times those guns, I've seen them, especially in Tulsa. Sometimes they're a mile an hour slower than they actually should be as far as the stadium gun goes. Whenever you actually look at the StatCast data And, the TrackMan data that comes off, a lot of times those stadium guns are a mile an hour slower than the actual data could be. So, hey, he could have been 99 approaching 100, but we do have it confirmed from the play-by-play guy of Round Rock that he was hitting 98 last night, and he recorded his 5th save of the year. So, hey, we've seen him go 3 innings at a time. We've seen him start games and go 2 to 3 innings as an opener to games. We've seen him go bulk innings. We've seen him go bulk innings in the middle of games, and we've seen him close games with that 98-mile-an-hour fastball, the good slider, and the changeup. Nick Robertson this year, okay, his ERA is 2. Nick Robertson is kind of the Michael Bush of the pitching in the sense that he's done just about everything he can at the AAA level to show that he is ready for major league action. Of course, he's not on the 40-man, so you'd have to DFA somebody, make room for him. We know that is always messy, but I'll tell you what, he's done just everything he can at the AAA level. He usually sits 94 to 96. Had it confirmed by the Round Rock play-by-play guy last night. He hit 98, and a lot of times those stadium guns are a mile an hour or so off of what the actual StatCast data and what the TrackMan actually puts off. So he might have been actually hitting 99, who knows, but we do have 98 confirmed. And he's a guy that Nick Robertson that has started games as an opener and gone 2 to 3 innings at the beginning of games. He's given the different clubs whatever level he's at, bulk innings in the middle of games. And last night, as we saw, he can close games, and certainly close games like last night was under pressure. He got his 5th save last night, so he can pitch in any role you want him to. He has easy power. He's hitting 98 miles an hour, and he has just been so good for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. His ERA is 2.55. His whip is just 0.91. His average against is just 1.97, and he has 27 strikeouts to just 3 walks in 17.2 innings. Let me say that one more time. Nick Robertson has 27 strikeouts, just 3 walks, an average against of 1.97. How about that in 17.2 innings? AA Tulsa, well, they had an hour-and-a-half rain delay to get started, and kudos to the people in T-Town. They stuck around and provided a big crowd last night, even though there was a hour-and-a-half rain delay. Of course, it was Saturday night. Saturday night in T-Town, pretty exciting right there, the attendance last night. As a matter of fact, 7,474, and that many people stuck around for an hour-and-a-half rain delay. So congratulations to the people of Tulsa. They're in Drillville. They love their drillers. They love coming out and watching, especially on a Saturday night. No better place to be Saturday night in the big town, T-Town, Tulsa, Oklahoma, watching some Drillers baseball. Tulsa scored 1 in the 2nd inning and then exploded for 7 in the 4th to beat the Springfield Cardinals 8-3. They're now 22-10 on the season. Tulsa is. Kylehurt gave the Dodgers another great start. We'll get into him here in a minute. He went 3 innings, scored us. And then Alec Gamboa, he came in as well before the rain delay took over. And offensively, JonnyDeluca hit a home run. Yorbit Vivas had another hit. Diego Cartaya had a double last night. So good to see him get over the Mendoza line. He's hitting 205 now on the year. Jose Ramos had a couple of hits. We'll talk more about him. Eddie's Leonard had a hit, and Carsontaylor had a 2 RBI triple that we're going to talk about as well. So a lot to get to in the Tulsa game. Again, they won 8-3 last night. They scored 7 in the 4th inning. They exploded there to move the record to 22-10. JonnyDeluca just destroyed that pitch. Look at that. Wow, that is a pitch that he just absolutely clobbered. That was his 10th home run. He also has 9 stolen bases. So, hey, the 2020 talk, the 2020 watch is heating up for JonnyDeluca. I think unless he gets hurt, he's going to get to 2020 pretty easy. And the question is going to be, can he get to 30-30, which would be totally awesome to watch him do that. The young man out of the Los Angeles area who went to Oregon. He was actually a switch hitter at the University of Oregon. He stopped switch hitting when he got to the Dodgers. Only right-handed now, and it has absolutely worked. He's hitting 278, so not only does he hit home runs, not only can he steal bases, he can also hit for average, 278 average. His OPS is 968, so he is doing it all offensively so far in 2023. JonnyDeluca. Jose Ramos went 2 for 2 last night. He had an RBI for AA Tulsa, and that game again was rain delayed. So getting 2 hits in a game that only got, I believe, to the 7th inning is what it got to. That is a fantastic look. He's just able to stay back on balls and just commit to letting the ball get a little bit deeper, so he's able to get hits like that. That's why Jose Ramos' average has been better this year. Ramos has hits in 5 of his last 6 games and 4 multi-hits in his last 5 plus last night. So Jose Ramos has been doing very well offensively, and he's also 9 for his last 23 with a home run, a double, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. The young Panamanian, Jose Ramos, who has all of the, he has the ridiculous arm, great athletic ability. He has the power. He has the ability, as we're seeing here, to hit for average. So nothing Jose Ramos can't do on a baseball field. Hey, I never pass up on the chance to brag on my man Carsontaylor out of Virginia Tech. I love his hit tool. This young man, I'm telling you, he's got off to a slow start in 2023. He had the slow 2022 because of injury, but I'm telling you, this dude is ultra talented. He was taken in the 2020 draft. If you remember, that was only 5 rounds, so only really the cream of the crop got drafted that year. That's how much the Dodgers think of Carsontaylor. He's transitioned to the catcher spot. His defense has gotten just amazingly better. He's a switch hitter. I think he's quite a bit better from the left side, which he's going to hit most of the time because most of the pitchers that you face are right-handed. So Carsontaylor, he had a 2 RBI triple that you're seeing right here, and he has 3 multi-hit games in his last 4. He's 6 for his last 12 with a triple, a home run, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and 11 total bases. The young man out of the Atlanta area that came to the Dodgers from Virginia Tech. For however slow Eddie's Leonard started out 2023, he is equally as hot right now. He had another 2 RBI double last night. He has 3 RBIs total so far, or last night he had 3 RBIs total before the rain delay got to the AA Tulsa Drillers. Leonard has been very hot lately as he's hitting .441 in May. His OPS in May is .1412. Doesn't get a whole lot hotter than that for, as far as a month and getting into it. We're already halfway through. It's the 14th of May, and he's still hitting .441. OPS .1412. He has hits in 6 of his last 7 games, and is 10 for his last 25. The young shortstop who's on the 40-man roster for the Dodgers, Eddie's Leonard. Boy, how about the Great Lakes Loons? Again, some of the things they've been doing have just been absolutely amazing. They are now 21-11 with their win yesterday. They just score late. They just kind of squeeze the air out of their opponent, then they score some runs late. They scored 3 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th, again to win 6-5. If you remember, they won the 10-inning game where they scored late on Friday evening, then scored 4 in the 10th inning to win that game 8-4. Well, they scored 4 more runs in the 8th and 9th innings of yesterday's game to win by 1 against the Lake County Captains. They have just absolutely dominated this series. The Great Lakes Loons have been absolutely fantastic. Ben Casparius had another great start for the High A Great Lakes Loons. He went 5 innings, had 6 strikeouts, did not give up a run, only had 2 hits. Then Mitchell Taransky, Ronaldo De Paula, Jack Dreyer, and Aldry Acosta, they teamed up to, of course, they did give up the 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th and 1 in the 9th, but they teamed up to only allow 5 runs on the night for the Lake County Captains. And the Great Lakes Loons, they were victorious 6-5, and they moved the record again to 21-11 on the season. It was another great outing for Ben Casparius, the right-hander out of UConn. He actually went to the University of North Carolina out of high school, but he's from the Connecticut area, and he always wanted to go back and play at home. So when he got to go back and do that and play the year at UConn, it was one of the greatest years of his life. He just absolutely loved his coaches. He loved his teammates. He loves the fact that he was a UConn Husky, and he helped that wonderful program they have built. I actually got to see them playing a regional in Oklahoma. They were supposed to come to Oklahoma State, but it was too wet, so that series actually got moved to the Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City. I got to see UConn play, and they were just a fantastic team, very tough, very scrappy, very disciplined, and that's one of the reasons why Casparius wanted to go back. He wanted to be a part of that culture at UConn, and he absolutely built onto that. And I know his coaches back at UConn love him. He loves them, and he loves the fact, again, that he went back and he was a Husky, and he's having a great year. I have said for now a year or two now, of course, he's been a position player in the past, but Ben Casparius, he has some of the nastiest stuff of anybody in the organization. His ball moves, and it moves fast. It's tight. The spin is tight. He's ultra competitive. It just seems like the ball, is never straight for him. It's almost impossible to get on the barrel. I'm going to watch this again, and it's just tough to hit. Ben Casparius, look, that ball just is always moving for him, and it's coming with good velo. So I've just said for a couple of years now, Ben Casparius has some of the nastiest stuff of any pitcher in the Dodgers organization. He went 5 innings yesterday. He gave up just 2 hits and no runs, and he struck out 5, which does not surprise me. Casparius is 9th in the Midwest League in ERA at 286 of all qualified players. He's 5th in WHIP at 102, and he's 2nd in average against at 167. So, hey, I said he's having a good year. There are your stats, Ben Casparius. Seems like it's becoming a daily occurrence on Dodgers Daily, talking about Griffin Lockwood Powell hitting home runs to the pull side. How about that? Lockwood Powell, Lock as they call him, he hit a home run for the Loons last night, and it was the second consecutive day in a row, consecutive night that he has hit a home run. We've talked about a lot, Lock go opposite field a lot. Now he's got and showing the pull side power. And we see what he gets to do and what he can do when he gets around on one, which is impressive right there. That's an impressive-looking home run. And last night, Locke, he was catching. So very versatile. He can play first base. He can catch. He can do a little bit of everything that a team needs and be versatile as far as that goes. So that versatility, as well as being able to hit to the opposite field and pull baseballs, that makes him very marketable. So, great job, Griffin Lockwood Powell. Boy, how about Mitchell Turansky? He threw a scoreless outing again for Great Lakes, and the young man who had, all of the injuries, the 2 Tommy John surgeries. He hadn't pitched since 2019. So here he is again. We've always known he's had the big stuff. You saw it right there. Look at the tumble and the downward movement to that breaking pitch right there. So you've always known the stuff was there. It's just a matter of, hey, is this young man ever going to catch a break? He's out of Michigan State and actually get back on the field. It had been since 2019. He hadn't had a chance to. And then once he does, how rusty is he going to be? What kind of command is he going to have? Is he still going to have his feel for all of his pitches? Well, how about the job he's done so far this year? He went scoreless yesterday. That's his 5th time in a row to go scoreless and 7th of his last 8. Turansky's ERA on the year is just 169. His WHIP is just 093. And his average against is just 065. So, hey, man, it's like he's never missed a beat. Mitchell Turansky certainly not showing any effects of not pitching since 2019. So the Loons scored late to win a game, and then pitching coach for Dave Anderson went out to visit the mound in the 9th inning to talk to Aldry Acosta, who you're seeing on your screen. That mound trip only lasted 25 seconds, which Dave Anderson, he gets his point across and he gets off the mound. He does not waste any time or mince any words. It worked. Aldry Acosta induced a weak ground ball. All of those sequences, the Great Lakes Loons scoring late to win a game, Dave Anderson going out and the pitching, the visit being very fast and very effective, and then Aldry Acosta right here inducing a weak ground ball. All that might be the most predictable chain of events in the history of time. Aldry Acosta, I say it every time I talk about him, has not allowed a run since his first outing of the season. The Rancho Cucamonga Quakes scored 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 6th, and 3 in the 7th inning. In that 3 spot in the 7th, they rode that to a 7-5 victory over the Stockton Ports last night, and they now are 23-9 on the season, are the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Jose Izada had a hit. Rain Don Cone had 2 hits and an RBI last night. And so it was a good night offensively for the Quakes. Anytime you can pound out 11 hits. Nick Biddison had a hit. He was 1 for 4. He also was on base twice. He drew a walk as well. Jorge Puerta, he had a hit. He was 1 for 3 and walked as well. And then moving down the line, Dayton Dooney had another big day. He had another multi-hit day. He went 2 for 3 last night. He has been on fire as of late. Dayton Dooney, he also had an RBI and a walk, so he was on base 3 times. And Kenneth Betancourt had a hit as well. Peter Hubeck, he started last night. He went 4 innings. A little bit of a rough start for him. He's had some up and down moments so far this year. His last 2 outings have been just absolutely fantastic. This one went a little bit sideways on him. He went 4 innings. Last night gave up 5 runs on 5 hits. He did have 6 strikeouts, though. So, that big breaking ball of Peter Hubeck, he's still on that learning curve. The Dodgers got him out of Gilman High School. So he's another one of those high school guys like Peyton Martin who is still just trying to figure out what makes him good. Hey, a couple of outings are good, then a couple go sideways. That's kind of the train that Peter Hubeck has been on. Nothing to worry about, I assure you. His goal, I talked to him, was to get above 190 and hopefully to sit above, 96 miles an hour above. He will do that. And so, the up and down is to be expected when you're a little bit younger and you're still trying to figure out the kind of pitcher you are, the sequences that you want to rely on to be a good pitcher, and all of that formula. That's where Peter Hubeck's at, but I assure you his stuff is big. He is an elite human being. His work ethic is unbelievable. He is super competitive. So Peter Hubeck, in the future, I promise you, he'll have many, many, many more good days than he does bad. But not last night, like I said, it was a little bit rough for him. He gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. Christian Romero threw 3 2/3 innings, scoreless. Great outing for him. He had 3 strikeouts and just 1 walk. And then Livan Reynoso cleaned it up in the 9th. He went 1 1/3 innings, scoreless, and he had a strikeout as well. So again, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, they won 7-5 last night over the Stockton Ports. They moved the record now to 23-9 on the season. So there you have it. There's our show for you today. I told you it was going to be cram-packed, and it was glorious because, again, 5-0, another organizational sweep, the 5th one of the year. How about that? And like I said, in the last couple of years, I can't remember more than I know there's been 1 or 2, but I don't remember certainly, stringing this many together. It's tough to do for all 5 teams in the organization to win their game on any one given night. So congratulations to the Dodgers. This organization just continues to roll on. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope you also tune in tomorrow. And, hey, just one last reminder before we get out of here. We do now have the ability to donate to Dodgers Daily. We do now have a GoFundMe account. The link to that GoFundMe account is in the description. So just scroll down to that description, click that link, and it'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe account. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, become a subscriber, and after you subscribe, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you will be notified. You won't ever miss a thing. Dodgers Daily will keep growing, which is what we want to do, and we'll be able to continue to provide videos and content like this in the future, which we love to do. We love putting these videos together. Super fun getting to watch these games, cover them, talk about them, and then release them for other people to watch as well. So I hope you enjoy them, and I look forward to providing many, many more of these in the future. As always, thanks for tuning in, and go Dodgers.